Every 2 seconds, someone in the world buys a wig. Whether it's for style, convenience, or just to ease social pressure, wigs have quietly become essentials for millions of people's lives. But here's something you probably never know. More than 60% of those wigs come from one tiny city in China you'd likely never heard of. Xuchang. Every single day, 40,000 wig sets are shipped out of the city to the world. And that's not even counting the fake eyelashes and Barbie doll hair made from the leftover materials. Out of the 4 million people living in Xuchang, over 300,000 are in the wig business. That means, statistically, every 14th person you meet, no matter grandmas or kids, whoever, is somehow tied to globalization. When the Trump administration slapped tariffs up to 125%, one of America's biggest toy company CEO complained, "Can we please spare those kids this Christmas? Are they really seriously gonna unwrap bald Barbies?" Wig buyers in Temu were also losing their minds over the new tariff-added prices. But put it aside, have you ever wondered, how did this little city rise up in just 30 years to dominate the global wig market? In this episode, I dug into interviews with 2 local factory owners, plus a bunch of Chinese documentaries and reports, to piece together the unexpected details behind it all. Stick around, you'll see why the whole decoupling thing is a lot messier than politicians make it sound.
Reorienting our international economic relations.
And also, what's next for China's wig makers? Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. There is a joke that perfectly sums up how Chinese entrepreneurs do global business. A machinery vlogger on a mission in the Amazon jungle stumbled across a Chinese guy selling instant noodles. No matter how niche the product and no matter how weird the market, if there is a buck to be made, Chinese business people will figure it out. According to Statista, the global wig market is expected to hit 13.28 billion by 2026. But honestly, that number doesn't shock anyone in Xuchang, because this city has been making wigs for more than 100 years. And it all started thanks to globalization. Back to 1900, a German businessman named Hunter, who was in the wig business in Europe, landed in China to source hair. His first stop is Xuchang, and a Chinese businessman, Mr. Bai, quickly spotted an opportunity. He teamed up with Hunter using precision-steel comb toys made in Germany to sort and prep real human hair. It was a win-win. And rural women, who at that time had a few ways to earn their own income, now had a new side hustle, selling their hair. Soon, more and more people were hired to roam the villages, collecting hair. By the 1990s, Xuchang locals realized one thing. Wow, hair collection was literally more profitable than farming. At its peak, 20,000 people were crossing China, scooping up human hair, bringing it back to Xuchang, where it was processed. Xuchang, this so-called wig capital of the world, didn't get there by accident. It was a mashup of government policy plus rural entrepreneurs with relentless grit that built something totally unique. In the 1980s, Xuchang was just a hub for hair collection. The best they could do was wash it, comb it, and do some basic prep. The real money, that was going to Japan and Korea. They owned the corn technology and global sales. Factory owners in Xuchang back then had a saying, "We do 10 times the work, but these make 10 times the money. The turning point came when the Chinese government launched its export earnings policy. And yeah, it sounds wild today, but back then the whole city was mobilized under the slogans like, "Collect here, support the national export drive." Oh my god, sounds a little bit hilarious now, right? But that was serious business at that time. Xuchang secured a 2.1 million RMB loan, a massive amount to the 80s, and used it to set up the first proper hair product factory. But here's the thing, money was just one piece of the puzzle. The hardest part? Always technology. They needed a core piece of equipment for mass production, the famous triple head machine. But at that time, no one in China knew how to build it. So what did they do? A factory boss, Zhang Youquan, traveled 1,600 kilometers to track down a retired worker who'd once worked for a Japanese company. The worker hand-sketched blueprints for memory. Xuchang's team pieced together the first machine by trial and error, literally building the industry from scratch. Speaking of the government-supported city cluster, even though Xuchang is just an inland city far and away from ports, China's ultra-efficient export network means if you can make it, then the whole system will get it to the world. That's why when the Trump administration tried to slap tariff and shouted about "bring manufacturing back to America," really hit hard. Because this setup is not something you can just copy-paste in a different country. A lot of people assume this is just a story of cheap Chinese factories. But trust me, the supply chain behind the wig you're wearing, it's way more intense than you can imagine. First up, where does all the human hair actually come from? Sure, some of it's from local barber shops, but a huge portion, it comes from halfway across the world. Think India's temple shaving rituals, where millions of devotees offer their hair to the gods every year. You might ask, hold on a second, but with so many companies in one town, don't they just kill each other in price wars? Great question. And I found an interview from Zhang Dan, the founder of Skytree Wigs. She said, if you just drop a new design, within 24 hours, your competitors have bought it. Within 7 days, a full knockoff is on the market. Press slashed until you are ready to cry. But here's the thing, this cutthroat competition, it doesn't destroy the industry, it sharpens it. Zhang said her team's secret weapon isn't watching what's selling, it's stalking the bad reviews of their rivals. Too itchy, looks fake, or uncomfortable? That's exactly what we fix next. Chinese people are good at macro innovation. And while competitors are busy at price war, her team was flooding Douyin and Little Red Note with thousands of punchy, viral-ready short videos every month to build their brand. It's also a masterclass in how Chinese manufacturing works. It's not about one company winning. It's the entire industry cluster evolving together. So while Zhang was busy securing her slice of the pie, other factories were hunting for the next market niche. It's an endless loop of you squeeze me, I squeeze back, until the entire region becomes basically untouchable. As long as the cluster survives, no outsider can break in. Let's rewind a little bit. It started out grinding out orders as an anonymous supplier, taking whatever deals come in from foreign buyers. In other words, classic OEM life. Low margins, high volume, zero brand control. But here's the part I love. This wasn't enough for them. They figured out something crucial. If you want real power, you don't just make the stuff. You have to own the brand, control the narrative, and dictate the prices. One of the boldest players, Rebecca. Originally a humble factory, they flipped the script fast. The old module, we make the wigs, you sell the wigs. The new module, we make, we sell. We set the prices, we create the trends. Instead of waiting for the next order from the US or Africa, they moved in hard, setting up their own companies, warehouses, and stores in a lot of places, like Nigeria, the US, and Brazil. Even small-time factory owners, many of them have never been to college, started to teaching themselves English and French, whatever it took to build their own brands and connect directly with the foreign buyers. One entrepreneur said, "There is no going back. I can force myself to do anything to growing my business." This social media shift wasn't just coincident either. It had a serious policy backing it up. In 2020, Xuchang's local government partnered with AliExpress to launch the world's first cross-border e-commerce live streaming hub, just 4 weeks, pouring millions into training programs and professional consulting teams to help those manufacturers go global digitally. And it worked. When COVID hit and the global retail ground to a halt, Xuchang's factory, they exploded online. Week sales in Europe and the US spiked like crazy, triple-digit growth on platforms like AliExpress, Amazon, and TikTok. By 2021, Xuchang's wig exports hit a jaw-dropping 15.16 billion RMB. That's over $2 billion. I know. We can assume USA wig brands could just move their production to Vietnam. Yeah, maybe. But have you considered this brutal truth? Mostly tiny home workshops, lucky to produce 1% of what Xuchang can churn out. Supply chain, fragmented and shaky. No way to match China's speed, scale, or consistency. Even major international players have learned the hard way. You cannot just swap countries and expect the same magic. When the people talk about decoupling or reshoring production, Xuchang's wig empire stands as a perfect reality check. Behind that product is an entire hidden world of factories, workers, and supply chains, woven together over decades and not easily replaced. We're unpolished players in business. We're here to keep unpacking those stories for you. Smash that subscribe button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.